DeWitt, the fact that he's a lawyer, right, does that help him or hurt him in front of a jury these days?
I think it hurts him. There is, a lot of class warfare that's going on in the nation right now. And so folks aren't necessarily as trusting of government structures, that includes lawyers and courts, as maybe they probably should be. And so I don't think that necessarily helps him. Plus, he's got, as Anna and David have both said, these other instances, which may, Anna put it, be called a prior bad act of engaging with women in some type of questionable way, at the very least. So I think it's problematic for him. I don't think him being a lawyer necessarily bails him out or falls into makes him necessarily fall into the good graces of any jurors. I think those two prior instances are going to make it really hard for anyone to see him as being an honest stand-up type guy.
Well, how about seeing him as sexy, single, and sizzling? Anna Yum, let me ask you, not if he's sexy, single, and sizzling, but
Please don't.
Is there a difference in the way a male juror versus a female juror may look at this defendant, or a young juror versus an older juror, or a married juror versus a single juror? What are your thoughts here? Because ultimately, it's 12 people who are going to decide what happened here.
Absolutely. I do think that all appearances are going to matter. And the fact that, he's considered this sexy, sizzling guy from People magazine, that's something that I'm sure both the prosecutor and the defense attorney are going to look into, because I'm sure we've all heard of it. It's the halo effect. People sometimes get enamored by a halo effect of someone who happens to be very charismatic or very good looking, or someone that you look at them and you're like, that guy wouldn't do that. No, I think that she's got it wrong. So I think that his appearance is going to be something that the prosecutor and the defense attorney are going to really consider when picking a jury. And if I'm picking a jury, you have to wonder, am I looking for the women who are younger, who might be more attracted to someone like him? Are you looking for older men? Are you looking for older women? I'm sure all of that is going to come into play when they think about voir dire and jury selection.
David Schnipper, do you think he's going to testify? Not if he's sexy and sizzling, Dave. No. Do you think he's going to testify? I mean, he's a criminal defense lawyer. He's a former prosecutor. He knows the ins and outs of a courtroom better than most defendants, right? He's been on both sides of this whole thing. So what do you think's his mindset?
I mean, it's too early to probably say if any defendant would testify right now without seeing the, details of the evidence. But it is his decision if he's going to testify. A lot of times in sexual assault cases, it's probably the one time where a defendant would potentially testify. But as we all know, he's obviously very bright. I actually have a colleague, a good friend named Pete Pashuko, giving him a shout out. I called him before this tonight. He knows him. He's practices in Boston. He's a very competent lawyer. He's in the courtroom all the time. He's actually, everybody knows who he is, but he is a respected litigator. So he knows the ins and outs. It's not his first rodeo, as my colleague mentioned. But, it's too early to say if he'll testify. But I would think that obviously he's only going to testify if he has to.
DeWitt, what would your thoughts be about representing a lawyer? I mean, it seems to me it could be a very difficult client, right? Because everything you do is going to be second guessed, or do you see it as someone kind of like a second chair helping you in the case?
I think that depends on the client. I've certainly represented attorneys before. So it is not unheard of in my practice, for sure. And it can be a circumstance where there's not client control, or the client who is the lawyer does not necessarily trust the opinion or work that the representative attorney is doing. But I don't know that there would be any problems with anybody on this panel. Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear.
I think that'd be pretty clear. I think